Once upon a time, in a distant land, there lived a poor woodcutter named Alibaba. He lived with his wife and children in a small village near a dense forest. Although he worked tirelessly cutting wood and selling it in the market, he could never earn enough to live comfortably. One day, while out in the forest gathering wood, Alibaba found himself lost in an unfamiliar part of the forest. After wandering for hours, he stumbled upon a hidden valley surrounded by steep mountains. As he explored further, Alibaba noticed a large rock blocking the entrance to a cave, its surface smooth and dark. Curious, he approached and was startled to hear voices coming from inside the cave. He crouched behind a tree and watched as a group of 40 men on horseback approached the cave. These men were no ordinary travelers. They were thieves, ruthless and feared by everyone in the land. As they drew near, one of them stepped forward and spoke to the rock. "Open sesame!" he commanded in a loud, clear voice. Alibaba gasped as the huge rock began to move. Slowly, it rolled away, revealing a dark, secret cave hidden within the mountainside. The thieves entered the cave, their horses clopping on the ground as they disappeared from sight. The entrance closed as soon as they were inside, sealing shut with a low rumble. Alibaba, still hiding behind the tree, was both frightened and fascinated. After a few minutes, he saw the rock roll open again, and the thieves emerged, each carrying sacks overflowing with gold, jewels, and treasures. They mounted their horses and left, making their way back into the forest. With his heart racing, Alibaba waited until the thieves were out of sight before he carefully approached the rock. His curiosity overwhelmed him. He repeated the words he had heard the thief say, though in a voice that trembled with uncertainty. "Open sesame!" To his amazement, the rock began to move once again, just as it had for the thieves. Alibaba stepped cautiously inside the cave, his eyes widening as he saw the piles of treasure before him. Gold coins, silver ingots, precious gems, and priceless artifacts filled the cave from floor to ceiling. Alibaba's heart raced with excitement. He knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But he also knew he had to be careful. Greed could lead to disaster. He decided to take only a small amount, just enough to improve the life of his family. He filled his pockets with gold coins and carefully made his way back out of the cave, whispering the words once more to close the entrance behind him. As Alibaba returned home, his mind swirled with thoughts of the treasure he had just discovered. He couldn't wait to share it with his family, but he also knew that the thieves would return to the cave soon, and he had to be cautious. Little did he know, the thieves were watching him from afar, and soon, their suspicions would begin to rise. Days passed, and Alibaba tried to go about his life as usual. He used the treasure he had taken to buy better food, clothes, and small luxuries for his family. But there was a nagging feeling in his heart. The thieves could not remain unaware of the missing treasure for long. One day, as Alibaba was returning from the market, he saw a figure lurking in the shadows of the forest. It was a man dressed in plain clothes, pretending to be a simple traveler. The man approached Alibaba, who immediately felt a sense of unease. The man smiled at Alibaba and introduced himself. "I am a merchant from a distant land. I have heard of your good fortune and wanted to pay you a visit," the man said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Alibaba, ever cautious, tried to remain polite but distant. "I have no fortune to speak of," he replied. "I'm just a humble woodcutter." But the merchant was persistent. "You seem to have enough to feed your family well. Perhaps a little too much for a woodcutter," he said, giving Alibaba a knowing look. Alibaba's heart skipped a beat. Was this man one of the thieves who had been in the cave? He decided to change the subject and bid the merchant farewell. However, the merchant followed him at a safe distance. When Alibaba returned home, he noticed something unsettling. His door was ajar. His family was inside, unaware of any danger, but Alibaba felt an icy dread in his gut. Had the thieves already discovered his secret? Meanwhile, in the thieves' hideout, their leader, an old, cruel man, had become suspicious. He had realized that someone must have discovered their secret cave, and the missing treasures confirmed his worst fear. They immediately set to work to track down the culprit who had stolen from them. Using their clever spies, the thieves discovered that Alibaba had been the one to enter the cave. They devised a plan to trick Alibaba into revealing the location of the cave. They would use a clever ruse, sending a disguised thief to Alibaba's village with a plan to deceive him. Extraordinary discovery of the treasure in the thieves' cave, Alibaba and his family's life changed forever. However, unbeknownst to Alibaba, the cunning thieves had not given up. Their chief had devised a new, sinister plan to infiltrate Alibaba's household and eliminate him, ensuring the secret of their treasure would never be revealed. One evening, as the cool desert breeze swept through the town, a merchant arrived at Alibaba's house. He claimed to be a trader in oil and sought lodging for the night. The merchant's caravan carried 40 large oil jars, and he requested to store them in Alibaba's courtyard. Alibaba, ever generous, welcomed the man into his home. What Alibaba did not know was that the merchant was none other than the chief of the thieves, and inside 39 of the oil jars were his men, each hiding silently, waiting for the signal to attack. Morgiana, Alibaba's loyal and clever servant, immediately felt something was amiss. She noticed the merchant was overly eager to ensure the jars were placed in a specific order and kept away from the main house. Later, while fetching oil for cooking, she approached the jars and heard faint whispers from one of them. Alarmed but composed, Morgiana devised a plan to uncover the truth. She lit a small lamp and approached the jars one by one. When she reached one of the jars that should have been filled with oil, she whispered softly, "Is it time yet?" A voice from inside answered, "Not yet. Wait for the signal from our chief." Morgiana's heart raced, but she kept her composure. She repeated this with several other jars, confirming her suspicion. These were not ordinary oil jars but a hiding place for the thieves. Without wasting a moment, Morgiana returned to the kitchen and heated a large pot of oil until it boiled furiously. One by one, she poured the scalding oil into the jars containing the hidden thieves. Each jar let out a muffled scream, then silence. Morgiana moved swiftly and efficiently, ensuring every jar was dealt with before the thieves could react or escape. The chief, unaware of his men's demise, sat comfortably in the guest quarters, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Morgiana, ever resourceful, decided to deal with him next. Later that evening, Morgiana performed a traditional dance to entertain the guest. Draped in a flowing red veil and carrying a dagger concealed in her garments, she moved gracefully to the music. As the chief of the thieves watched, mesmerized, Morgiana closed the distance between them. With a sudden, swift motion, she plunged the dagger into his chest, ending the threat once and for all. When Alibaba learned of Morgiana's bravery, he was overcome with gratitude and admiration. He declared her the savior of his household and rewarded her handsomely. To ensure the safety of his family, Alibaba sealed the treasure cave permanently, keeping its secret hidden forever. Morgiana's cleverness and loyalty became legendary, proving that wit and courage can triumph over any adversary. The tale of Alibaba's adventure and Morgiana's heroic acts spread far and wide, celebrated for generations to come. And so, with the thieves defeated and peace restored, Alibaba and his family lived in prosperity and happiness. The moral of the story is that wisdom, loyalty, and bravery can overcome even the greatest dangers. Morgiana's cleverness and quick thinking saved the day, emphasizing the value of resourcefulness. Additionally, the thieves' greed and dishonesty ultimately lead to their downfall, showing that greed never brings lasting success.